Vladdy is still.
So you know what's funny is I went to a Mavs game. This must have been a playoff game, Mavs Kings, round 1. I think it was, or maybe it was right before the playoffs. I can't remember. It's probably 2004, 2005. And literally the day before I go, Chris Webber gets traded. I don't know.
The Bullets.
Maybe. And I'm like, well, that sucks.
Yeah. So they traded him.
Maybe it was right before the playoffs. Maybe it was right before the deadline. It was like the trade deadline.
The trade deadline. Yeah. Yeah, because you can't just trade in front of the playoffs.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was close to the playoffs, though. I remember.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know when the trade deadline is.
Good. Right. Welcome.
Welcome.
We've got we had a little busy Smalls field trip.
We did
this weekend.
We did.
You want to get into it?
Yeah, a little Fort Worth action.
That's right.
Concert. Some good food.
Some great food.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience.
Well, let's talk about this. So we go to the Tyler Childers. You say Childers or Childers?
I'm going to go with Childers.
Okay. Went to his concert, which is a great concert.
Oh, amazing.
And let's talk about Dickies Arena. Great venue.
I mean, a great place to see a show.
Yeah. You get in and out. Like, there was no lines. It was great.
It's a big place.
Clean.
But it's very easy to get in and out.
Very easy to access.
Yeah. We walked.
15,000 people?
Is it 15 or 18? It's something
I don't
like
know,
that.
something like that, yeah.
But
it probably depends. Yeah, great venue.
Yeah.
So we go to that, and great show.
Loved it.
Yeah. Loved the show. Yes. Typically we aren't country fans. Would that be safe to say?
Well, yeah, and I don't think he just fits really neatly into the
country
country
but he
box.
would be Americana,
he's
folk.
More traditional country sound with some, different
his sounds involved.
Spice in the mix.
Yeah. Good show. Did you notice his talkback mic? I was talking to him, calling out songs in between every song.
I did not.
Yeah. He had a mic up there. He would walk up, he would look at his list, and he would just go to his mic and name the next song, and they go right into it.
Yeah, because my friends went to see him in Birmingham the next 2 nights or so later, and the show was totally different as far as the order.
Yeah, I think he just has his song bank up there, and he just calls it off.
There you go. When you're that
and
good.
Did you notice the band members not knowing where he was going at certain times? And then the lighting guy, like when there's a solo or something, they're switching between, and they would like light up the wrong guy, the camera guy, if you're showing the wrong guy. Like, because I think it's just all... I like that.
That's what happened when I ran sound at Covenant Church. Only I knew what the program was.
Yeah.
And it's just, why is that microphone not working?
Yeah. And there's only 4 songs. So I do have, this was interesting. So we stay at a really nice hotel.
Yes.
Would you say that?
Well, name names.
Sorry.
Right? We don't have to name names.
No, it's just it was on the higher end. It was
nice.
Yes, I had some credit card points built up, or I wouldn't have stayed there.
Okay.
But it was real close to the venue, fairly recently open, really nice. Artwork, everything was just like really nice. Right.
You're gonna have
facility
the
was nice.
Finding this place. Okay.
Yeah. So. But they were, it's fairly new open, but we definitely saw some, some
cracks in the armor,
some places they could improve.
That's right.
So can I tell you my biggest complaint? And we haven't even talked about this.
Let's hear it.
But this was after. Well, let's build up to where I get real frustrated. Okay, so we're there Friday. They messed up our luggage getting to the room, whatever. 3 hours late in the check-in, whatever. We can deal with some of that. We go at their steakhouse before the concert, and we go at 5. Concert's at 7:30 or 8, and needless to say, we barely make it because it was just it was a bad experience.
It was a total meltdown.
Yes, it was. But what I appreciate, I had never seen the side of you that I also have that just gets really frustrated when things are when there's incompetencies in business.
I don't know that I wasn't really frustrated because I was trying to have a good time.
Well, you just quit talking.
So I did think about at one point just laying my head down on the table.
Did I say something to offend Josh?
No. Again, because really the gap between the salad and the main course felt like an hour and a half.
It probably was.
It felt like we were looking around. And,
it probably was.
Yeah. And so anyways, look, when something's new, and we're about
Yeah.
to open a new business.
Yeah, hey, I
Ivy's
get
in
it.
Blanchard, North Market
I get
Street.
it. I get it.
You know, there's going to be things that you got to work out.
Yes.
This was one of those areas for this
Yeah.
this company because
Yeah.
holy cow, that was a miss.
Well, because that is I mean, how much did they spend? I mean, compare
They
the risk.
comped.
I mean, that
Right.
that is a, I mean, how much they spend to develop that place. I mean, that is
yeah.
a pricey project.
That's right.
To swing and miss on.
Mm-hmm.
So it all culminated to Sunday morning. I go to the restroom
In your room.
in my room
Okay.
and realize they literally have the cheapest toilet paper you can buy.
I noticed that too.
And I'm like, why would you spend
I noticed that too.
this much money on decorations, furniture, have 1 million employees, all this stuff, and you're going to cut cost on toilet paper?
Now, to be fair, the mood lighting when you walked into the bathroom, it like was motion.
Yeah.
And so when I walked in,
I
this
get it.
beautiful blue
Fades
ambient
in.
light.
Yeah. But I'm like, hey, I'll be willing to flip a switch if you get me some Charmin, okay? I'll be willing to flip a
Two-ply,
switch.
please.
Yeah, at least
Two-ply.
2-ply, not
That's
single
right.
ply.
That's right. You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
It did hit me at one point, to be honest, as, you know, it was a little odd.
Yeah, it was odd.
It's a little odd.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's, you know, Ritz-Carlton amenities with, you know, Motel 6 toilet paper.
Maybe it was an eco-friendly toilet paper.
Oh,
Like
maybe so.
A different substance.
Yeah,
Like,
well, they should put like a little sign over the roll that says, hey,
Right.
this is uncomfortable, but you're saving the planet.
and then you'll feel better about it.
I'd feel
right?
better about it.
There you go.
Yes, that would add to my social score for sure.
That's right. That's right. Which you're very high on.
Yes, I am. Off the charts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This podcast is helping you with that.
Yeah.
So we left off. Where did we leave off?
We left off, I think we had made it through 3. Oh, dude, I didn't even bring mine. Why didn't you remind me to bring mine?
It's okay. I got you covered.
Okay.
I got you covered. We had made it through physical, spiritual, and mental
Yes.
parts of the ideal
Yes.
wheel. We have 4
Yes.
components left.
Yes.
So we may try to
That's right.
move maybe a little bit faster, or else we can turn this into a
Yeah,
4-parter.
just took a picture of it. I left mine. In fact, I'm actually teaching my real estate. We have a all-day training on Tuesday, and I'm going to bring this out and do this with all my real estate agents.
Hey, keep us posted on that.
And they don't even know about it yet.
Keep us posted. Well, can we get into one other story? Speaking of
Oh my gosh.
our listenership,
Okay.
do you know where I'm going with this?
Well, I said real estate agent.
We had a real estate agent, one of the best in the business, hang out with us Friday night.
We did.
A gentleman by the name of Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor came and visited us because he happened to be in Fort Worth.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he told a little anecdote about the podcast, and I just didn't know.
He
if you wanted
did.
to
You know,
share
I
that.
didn't know. I never took him as a media connoisseur, you know, but
Right.
he was very, very critical of our listener
But
count.
I love the criticism.
I love the criticism.
So
And,
go ahead. The story goes.
well, I mean, he just brought it to light that we only had like we had double-digit followers, and
His response
was, I thought y'all would have over 100,000.
Over 100,000
Over 100,000
listeners. And so he was basically making
Yeah.
fun of us for only having,
Yeah.
you know, this
Yeah.
is our episode number, I think it's 9.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't we have half the population of Shreveport already listening? How dare us?
So, you know, listen, I'm going to take that criticism with a grain of salt
Yeah.
because, you know,
Yeah.
we're going to keep grinding.
Yeah, but you know
And-
what that means he did? He looked into us.
He did. He checked our
did.
stats.
One of the top real estate agents in the market.
That's right. That's right. So, listen, Trevor, here's
Yeah.
to you. Thank you for that encouragement.
Yes, that encouragement. The encouragement by way of criticism.
That's right. And listen, we've got to be open to that feedback. Why don't we have 100,000 followers?
Why don't we? What can we do better?
There you go. And so
Yep.
we're here on the Ideal Wheel. We're working on it.
Yes.
But like we mentioned before, the Ideal Wheel is a way to measure different dimensions of your life beyond just your work.
Yes.
But with that said,
Beyond your work.
this next category is going to be about your work.
Yes.
This is the career section.
Career. And, you know, normally in business, the career is the will, right? A lot of people, that is their identity. The career is the whole thing, and everything else is judged based off of that career. This concept is your career is only a portion, right? 1/7 of your life.
Correct.
So,
All right, so we're going to go from career. Now, remember, we're ranking these 1 to 10, and you are working on your ideal wheel as we go.
Yep.
So, from a career standpoint, enjoy what I do.
Enjoy what I do.
Do you enjoy what you do?
Most days.
Okay, so what are we?
Most days.
We're going to put you in.
Man, I
This is
really
an
wish.
8?
I really wish I would have brought my
Your
wheel.
wheel.
Yeah, I don't even know what I did with
I'll
it.
fill it out for you.
I cleaned out my truck the other day. I'm wondering if it's
That's okay. Look, just
there.
give,
If it's
just,
in.
just go
Enjoy
from
what I do. I would
Yeah.
put a. Let's put a 8.
8. Great.
Yep.
All right. How about understand my job? How well do you think you understand your job?
What I should be doing, understand what I should be doing, I'd put a 9.
Okay. Coworker relationships.
Coworker relationships. I'm not the best on relationships, but I'm not the worst. Let's say coworker relationships, I would put a 7.
Okay. So, anything to say about coworker relationships for you? You said you're not the best.
Well,
like
coworker, I would say, when you're in an organization and you're at the top, most of the people I'm dealing with, are, I would call them team members, not coworkers necessarily, but I guess they are coworkers. And so there is a dynamic that has to be overcome when you're at the top. And the lines can get blurred really quickly on friend versus leader. Not saying you can't be a leader and also be a friend,
Right.
but there is just a dynamic that changes, right? And I think we've talked about this on earlier podcasts, especially when you promote up through a company, or if you decide that you're growing your business and you want to hire people right? That's always a tricky situation.
Fraught.
Yes, I'm going to hire this person. So I have a rule. I'm like, anybody that hires in my company, I'm like, it cannot be a friend.
You have to ask yourself, can I fire this person?
Right. You have to worst case scenario, this doesn't work out.
Right.
Am I willing to sacrifice or to make things awkward? Potentially.
Yeah.
And and there's been times where it didn't work out and it ended up being okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what tends to happen is if it's not working out, it tends to prolong because, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or lose the friendship. Yeah.
That's right.
So I'd say coworker relationships are when I say I'm not the best at relationships, I just, I can improve on my intentionality with all relationships. Yep.
Well said.
Yep.
Okay. Positive attitude and thoughts.
Positive attitude and thoughts.
Right.
Man, this is I'm going through this now. I would say I haven't had the best week. And so, yesterday, just looking at March, our first quarter numbers, looking at areas we can improve. It's easy to not look at it as areas you can improve, but as how crappy of a job you're doing.
Dumpster fires.
Dumpster fires, yep. And then it's doom and gloom. Oh, if this pattern continues, this is going to happen. Then it's like it always ends with me moving my family of 6 into a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, we would be happy in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Listen, love grows best.
Yeah,
houses.
yeah, exactly.
I've heard.
So positive attitude and thoughts. I would say a 7 there. Sticking to my schedule, that is going to be like a 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
a 3.
yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I just, I let my emotions sometimes determine.
Your motion.
Well, I'm just like, do I really want to do this today? You know what I'm saying? Or I can push this off to later in the week. I'm more excited about doing this today, so I'm going to move this around, that sort of thing. So
One of the exercises that I know our coach, Aaron Barker,
yep.
has given us is a time log. And now, has
Yes.
he also given you the time log?
Yes, I did do the time log. Yes,
So-
that's first activity.
what you find in the time log is pretty revealing. Essentially, the
Yeah.
ask is, hey, go ahead and fill out for every moment of the day, fill out what you're doing, all the way from when you wake up to
That's
when you
right.
go to bed.
That's right.
And when you fill that out consistently over, I think it was, 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Man, it's very revealing.
Yeah.
It's very revealing.
Well, and for me, that activity is more of, where's your time being spent? But even in a deeper level is it being spent on things that only you can do, or things that you could delegate,
That's right.
right? You have
Yeah.
a team member that could do that,
Yeah.
or things that, So yeah, that is a man, sticking to my schedule. Yep.
I think that's a great topic for another day. But sticking to
Yes.
your schedule is very tough.
Yes.
So I will allow the 3 on this.
Okay.
So how about opportunity for advancement?
Opportunity for advancement. I think that that wouldn't really, for me, for advancement would be growth and acquisitions at this point, maybe.
Yes.
Yep. So opportunities, I would say I have a high opportunities for that. I would say a 7.
7. Great. Keeping track of my numbers. How are you doing on this
Yeah. Well, I do pretty well on this.
one? Okay. And does somebody prepare a list of the numbers for you? Do you
Yeah.
do the mining? Well,
Yeah.
How does that work?
So so we have in my organizations, we have a weekly dashboard, if you will. Actually, really, it'd be a monthly dashboard. One company have weekly dashboard, one have monthly dashboard, but we have weekly goals and commitments, and then once a month we're reviewing the results of all those. Then, of course, I also have financial reports for all my companies. I have financial controllers in place. So my frustration is that I do not like to wait for the monthly, say, financial report, for instance, right? For all of my accounting to get reconciled, I might be midway through the next month before I see those reports.
Right.
And so I'm really making decisions based off of something that happened 45 days ago. And I don't care for that. So what the dashboard allows me to do is kind of, as Adam would say, read the tea leaves, if you will.
The
so I can
lead measures.
Yeah, so I
Just
can
the
kind of
lag
look
measures.
at, future things that, pending deals, or bids that were made, or jobs that were approved and done. And then I can kind of know based off of my numbers, well, this is going to result in this much cash flow or this much gross profit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so dashboard, that's very very important for us. And, that goes back to the 40X, the 4 disciplines of execution. You have to have a dashboard. You have to have a scoreboard. Okay, so maybe that's the better word for it, a scoreboard, because we need to know if we're winning, if what our lead measures are doing are paying off. And so, the dashboard might be more on the front end, measuring our commitments, our weekly commitments, and the scoreboard would be the lag measure, the results of those.
Gotcha.
So, so I would say that's a pretty high one for us, keeping track of my numbers. And I would also say that is still evolving. There's still room for growing on there, but I would put an 8 on that.
Great. How about your planning and organization?
I would put a 5 on that. Yeah, not very organized. Planning I have, I do pretty well at planning. Prospecting skills. I would say at this point, my prospecting would be in hiring new people, and acquisitions would kind of be my prospecting skills.
Not as much on the selling front.
No. In
Yeah.
the past, did a lot of selling, did a lot of prospecting, and then when we started the real estate company, did a lot of recruiting or adding team members. I don't know. There's like a new way to say recruiting that's cool and trendy sounding. I can't remember what we say. So prospecting skills, I'd say prospecting skills would probably be 7.
Okay.
Productivity, 6. I think there's always room for me to be more productive. So what has me there?
Yep, you got a 6.
A 6 on the whole category of career.
Wow,
Okay.
and this is supposed to be one of your strongest.
Well, I left my sheet.
Okay, so we're going to take a 6 and move on.
All right, let's take it.
So from a career standpoint, we're moving now into financial.
Okay.
Financial's more of your personal dealings with money and finance.
Yep.
So going through this is helpful because obviously, listen, these are all components of life.
Yes.
And personal finance is one of these. Personal finance is something that you don't get a lot of education on typically in school.
Yep.
Maybe you're blessed to have a parent who's very good at this. Maybe you are not.
Yeah.
I don't know what was the situation like for you in terms of
Yeah, I probably
finance.
didn't have, we didn't grow up with a lot of money. I think that most of my financial education was that, you're supposed to tithe. That's pretty much it.
What was was it 10% or beyond? What was
10%.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that was probably the extent of, if you found some money, it's like, all right, we'll give, found a quarter, give
Found a quarter.
2.5 cents, 2.5 pennies. So it wasn't a whole lot of education there. But yeah, I would say that I'm not I don't look at my finances as well as I should.
Sure. I think
say
most
that.
people are in that boat,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's an easy place to do some avoidance.
Yeah.
And
I did learn, early on that, there were some books that we read. I mean, of course, we went through the phase with Dave Ramsey and the Total Money Makeover. Right after we had bought a brand new car, and it was like, oh man, what did we do? And then, I remember the first time we did this. This was probably we were 25, just out of grad school, and we went to the envelope system, and literally the first day, right? Because I'm like prepping Laurie for this. Hey, look, we're going to do this. We got to do this, like. Yeah. All the stuff, saying all the Dave Ramsey quotes and getting the envelopes, counting all the money out.
Right.
And the first day she walks home, she was a school teacher, went to teach school, comes in, has a drink from Sonic. I'm like, well, nothing was taken out of the envelope, so where did that $1.50 come from? She's like, well,
what'd she say?
I just used the card, the debit card. Yeah. So.
Violation of trust.
So you can see how that went.
Yeah. Well, listen, I see a lot on the Twitter sphere, the X sphere right now. There's a lot of videos that come through, maybe TikTok for younger folks. And this is old man yelling at clouds, so bear with me here. But I see a lot of young people lamenting the fact that, as they're getting out of college and maybe they have these very high debt, that they've acquired with these degrees, and that they're trying to find work. It's hard to find work. It's hard to find, a great, phenomenal paying job right out of college. It's hard to live in a very trendy apartment. It's hard to go to nice restaurants. It's hard to do all these things. And on one hand, I think about how, unfortunately, through social media, there's so much comparison that goes on now. It's so easy to see people living these glamorous lifestyles, that it's easy for people to fall into this trap of going, hey, you know what, man, my life is not good because I'm not on a boat right now, eating lobster and drinking champagne.
Yeah.
On the other hand, as we came through and experienced life, I mean, there's a natural part of your life cycle where as a young adult, most people are seemingly pretty poor, right? Most people are eating Totino's pizzas, and most people are, got the rice and beans and the Dave Ramsey thing.
Oh yeah.
So on that other hand, I don't necessarily feel, sorry for them. I think that personal finance is something that you have to learn, but you need to be able to exercise that muscle of discipline.
Sure.
I mean, you
Sure, there's a fine line, right? Because that's where do you live a minimalistic life and save and save and save so that whenever you're later in life you quote unquote retire, now you have a cush rest of your life? Or do you take some luxuries in your 20s, 30s, and 40s to make memories and to have experiences and to enjoy life?
Yeah.
And so I think that is a interesting topic to discuss about, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely on the camp of I want to make memories and enjoy my kids and let them experience things that I never got to experience and all those things. But at the same time, I think one of Dave Ramsey's principles is, just don't spend more than you make. Obviously, that's a big one. We do need to plan some for the future, and how that looks like. It's different for everybody.
What's the emergency fund? It's so many months worth of income.
3 months of income.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in case whatever happens. Yeah, so there's I think that's what it is.
I think
3
so.
months or something like that.
And listen, that's for many people that's hard to do. Very hard to do. So I'm not taking away from that.
Very hard to do.
For me, it's more about the videos of the young people that are crying.
Yes. What's funny is my 8-year-old daughter. She's just like, the other day she's sitting in there. She's like, I just want a TikTok so bad. Why can't I have TikTok? And I'm like, why do you want TikTok? And she's like, because I want to be famous.
Right.
And I'm like, what does that mean to be famous? She's like, people know who you are and watch your videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and what does that get you?
Wow. So
and she's 8 years old.
That's right.
And she doesn't watch TikTok. She's never been on TikTok or Snapchat or any of that stuff.
The idea.
It's crazy that she even has that concept.
Well, and the idea of us being a part of a community and being part of something larger than ourselves, I think, is a value that is in many ways becoming outdated.
Yeah.
Because what she's saying is that, I want, and listen, there's two people who are podcasting clearly for attention.
Yeah.
She's saying, look, I want the attention because our society is rewarding those people. Attention is the number one currency now.
Yeah.
Having attention is more valuable than having lots and lots of cash, because you can convert that attention to cash very easily.
Yes.
So,
obviously, as Trevor's point,
clearly this is not a massive moneymaker, but we will move on. All right. Okay. So that's our soapbox for finances.
So that's finances.
Owning real estate. How about it?
Owning real estate. I would say an 8.
You're an 8. Okay. Personal budget.
Ooh, this is gonna be a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go a 5 on that.
Okay. Impulse purchases.
Oh,
gonna be pretty bad. I'm as an onlooker.
So here's the hard one. This is like impulse purchasing would be bad. So do I rank high on it or low on it?
Low.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, I'm a 10 out of 10 on impulse purchasing. Let's go. I would go 5 on that as well.
5. Okay. I was going to give you a lower score, but that's fine.
Okay.
Here's the next one is earnings. So listen, this number is very subjective for all of us, but for you, at a 0 to 10, where do you rank your own personal sense of your earnings?
I would say I'm in a comfortable place. I would say I would be comfortable making what I make for the rest of my life. Okay. I'm content with what I'm making.
Okay. So how would you quantify that? 10 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 maybe?
Yeah.
Always room to improve.
Let's go. We're not doing halves, are we?
No.
Okay. So we'll go 7.
Okay. 7. Way to go. Living within your income. How well do you think you do on living within your income?
An 8.
8. Great. Charge accounts. You're running up a lot of charge accounts, a lot of credit card bills.
No.
Playing fast and loose.
This is a different thing too. And this is where I go. This is where I push back on the Dave Ramsey thing. And I meant to say this earlier and it slipped my mind, but his is all about personal finances, and then not much about business.
Correct.
And so there is, I do look through a different lens.
Yes.
And so finances, right? You kind of have two worlds, personal and business, right? Because his is all debt is bad. And I'm like, well, there's no way I would have scaled my businesses as much as I had without debt.
Correct. And listen,
right?
and
So,
Dave Ramsey is very, very good for a particular group of people. And listen, I don't throw any shade towards what he says. I think it's all common sense stuff.
Yeah.
But there's another playing field, like you say, where debt is a part of trying to grow and trying to work.
I would say some things obviously are black and white in that it's probably not a wise decision for you to purchase this. Right.
Become over levered.
Maybe you don't want to finance a jet ski.
There you go.
Right. But to say all debt is bad, I think that there's just some gray area, and depending on your situation, even personal debt. I mean, if I'm saying I have to go and take on personal debt of X amount of dollars to inject into my business to start a new division that's going to return me this amount of money in 12 months, I would do that. Right. And so it's just kind of,
your ability to understand the system goes a little bit beyond Dave Ramsey's typical boilerplate advice.
And so that's my only problem with Dave Ramsey is that he has a black and white system, and mine is like it's not black and white.
Sure.
Some areas are
definitely not where you are in life today.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So I would say so where are we going?
Charge
accounts. I mean, I use a revolving account. This is like, I run my expenses through a revolving account and pay it off every 30 days.
So 9, 10. I mean, you're not
9.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about adequate insurance? Do you have adequate insurance? And I hope all the insurance agents listening in are putting you in
So what kind of insurance are we talking about? Health insurance?
We're talking health. We're talking life.
I have health insurance. Not adequate. Well, I don't know. How much would you value my life? Probably I don't really know much about life insurance, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Would, my insurance, my retirement and my insurance is somewhat built into my businesses in that they are income producing businesses that will provide for whoever inherits those businesses. So that's that's my retirement, to one day, bring on partners or sell part of the business or whatever. I mean, that's really my retirement.
Yeah, there's a wide open lane for a financial planner from what we've heard. If anybody's listening out there, wide open lane. Well, how about there's also the dimension
adequate
of
insurance,
your property insurance, your car insurance. You covered?
Sure. I'm covered on all that. Yeah, I'm not exposed on all that.
Well, and I need to go through and film, my stuff. They tell you to film all your stuff, on video, so you can remember if you have to replace it in a fire, tornado, or something.
Yeah.
So I need to do that.
So I would say on insurance, I'd say a 6. Adequate insurance, a 6.
6. Okay. Room for growth. We're going to lump these together: investments, retire investments, and savings. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, most of my cash is going back into businesses to build my businesses, and that's where my investments go, into businesses or my rental portfolio. So I would say let's do a 7, 5, and 6.
Great. So somehow or another, you ended up with a 6.1 here.
All right.
Okay.
I think that I did better on my sheet if I would have had it. Okay. But it's okay. I'm on the spot here. This is being recorded.
That's right. Okay, we're moving into the next category, which is social. And I'm going to be honest with you. I struggle with this not because I feel unease in social settings.
Yeah.
I just don't really have a lot of time for just raw social parties and things. I live an hour away from my work.
Yep.
On the weekends, I like to go to the farm.
Yep.
And I don't really seek out lots and lots of social events. How about you?
That's right. I used to a lot more than I do now. I really built my businesses on social settings. So I did not do they were startups. I did not do hardly any advertising or marketing. It was almost 100%
relational,
referral based, building absolutely. Relationships. And so that was a lot of that. That probably changed probably when I started Ally Real Estate, the Berkshire Hathaway franchise, 2017. I still did a little bit of that early on, but then it just became, one, I shifted from selling. So I wasn't selling as much as I was managing and operating. Yeah. And so that changed a little bit. And then, you know, around that same time, 2016, my daughter was born. Then 2019, my youngest came into the family. So, you know, 4 kids. It's just the same thing. It's just hard to...
With kids, it does
people
make
aren't,
it much harder.
Yes, very hard.
Right.
And so now, having said that, I get energized being around people.
Extrovert.
Right. So, like, Friday night, we're having a neighborhood cookout at our house. That we just came... I was like, hey, we need to have the neighbors over again. Neighborhood cookout. We've done this like 3 or 4 times. Wow. So we're a smaller neighborhood. Right. Maybe only... 10 or 11 houses in there, 20 max is what's available. Mm-hmm. And so whenever like somebody builds a new house in there, we're like, let's have a neighborhood cookout, everybody get together.
That's very cool.
Yeah. My wife probably doesn't like it, but she's introverted, but I love it. And then, so.
No, that's because you're doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, and all the prep, right?
Now, your neighborhood, you call it a farm.
It's a compound.
It's a family compound. Yes, it is.
Correct.
It is.
Yeah. So
which I would never do.
Well, you know, listen.
Look, I'm not hating on you. It's to each his own.
We love the setup. You know, we have 1 daughter. She gets to play with her cousins. There's 3 kids that my brother has.
Yeah.
It's so cool. They all play together. They're playing softball out in the yard. They're playing with the chickens.
Yeah.
And they have a great time. And I like being close to family. It's a good experience. So when I have a neighborhood cookout, a lot of times they don't come.
Yeah. So that, I mean, we just, you know, we do, you know, a crawfish boil once a year and invite people over. We do, people have parties at our house. We just have people over all the time. Yeah. So that's what my 15-year-old now is like, who's coming over this weekend? That's what he says, you know. So we like to be around people.
All right. So ease at gatherings. I would give you a pretty high score on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your score at ease of gatherings?
Probably a 9. Yeah, probably a 9.
Yeah. Courteous nature. In a social setting? Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, I think, you know, we've talked about this. I think we talked about it on the last episode, but, you know, coming in, walking in, stuff on my mind. I'm not the most courteous in the office getting to my desk. If my mind's racing, I got to get something done. But courteous nature in a social setting, I mean, I'd put it at an 8. I'm not like starting arguments. Obviously, I'm a strongly opinionated person. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago, I'd like to pick fights and arguments. At your parties, you bring people over to fight with them.
Oh, yeah. Within an hour, we're getting into politics. No, I just, you know, I've had the ability for somebody just to say something blatantly ignorant and wrong, and something I know is wrong, and something I disagree with, and just smile and nod.
Yeah. Okay.
I see where you're coming from.
Right. Not a gossiper. Are you a gossiper?
A gossiper.
Yeah.
Man, that's tough. Not a gossiper. I think I'm more aware. Obviously, I have regretted saying things in the past. I think I'm a little bit more aware of it now. You know, obviously, you know, especially working with Aaron, it's like focusing on things that you can control and stuff like that, right? And so I find now it just bothers me, especially like a team member talking about, oh, well, this company's doing this, or they're doing this, or they said this, or this happened, or whatever. I'm like, guys, why are we even talking about that?
Right.
Like, that has nothing to do with what we're focused on.
Correct.
You know, and so then, so yeah, I think that gossiping is a direct result of insecurities. I would say that. And so when I find myself gossiping or feel the need to, I'm asking myself, why do I feel the need to belittle this person?
Right.
Where am I not living up, or where am I not at peace that I need to put this person down to make myself feel better?
Where's that coming from?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think I'm more aware of it. I can reflect on that.
Yeah.
You know, so
when I think about this, I kind of come away with a simple mantra, which would be, can you say it to them?
Yeah.
Could you say this to them?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm 100% accurate on that, but
Yeah.
as I get older, I think that's really, make your words mean something, is this idea that, if I would tell it to you, that I'd be comfortable telling it to whoever the person is.
Yeah.
Now maybe people don't understand that I'm just,
Yeah.
being observational, not necessarily critical.
Yeah. Well, I hear this all the time when people say, well, people just take all my time because they just come to me with all their problems. And I'm like, well, you're allowing that to happen, right? Like, we take our trash, the dump truck picks up the trash. They don't go take it to the country club and dump it on the 18th green, right? Because trash doesn't belong there. They take it to the dump.
Right.
And so why are you even allowing it in? Mm-hmm. And then, so now whenever, people say, well, when I feel like it's not a fruitful conversation about someone else, I'll just be like, well, hey, let's get them in the room and let's talk about it.
Right.
And they stop bringing the trash.
Yeah, amazing how that changes.
Stop bringing it.
Okay, right. So not a gosper. Give me a number here.
Let's see, not a gosper. Let's go 5.
5. Got it. How about this one? Sense of humor.
Well, let me tell you, one of our prized listeners, she would subscribe to our Patreon if we have one.
This is your mom?
No, she would also. Hannah Bailiff.
Okay.
Big listener.
Oh, she's such a sweet lady.
She is.
Yeah.
Big listener.
Okay.
And she's like, yesterday, she's like, oh yeah, every time an episode, I'm like, oh, more of Leighton's jokes. So she doesn't like the business talk. She just wants jokes. So I think she thinks this is a comedy podcast.
Well, in many ways.
Sometimes.
So listen, I'm going to give you a high mark for that. How's that?
You're going to rate me? Okay,
let me
me.
rate you at 8. How's that? And because listen, we don't want to. 9 and 10 is that's a little bit of hubris. So let's go with 8.
Okay.
How's that?
To you. Yeah, I like it.
What, you wanted a 10?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who. I don't know. This is a great one to let somebody else rank.
Okay. Self-confidence.
Self-confidence. Ooh. I would say I'm a confident person. I'm pretty confident in my own abilities, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I read something this morning. I was reading through my devotional. It stuck with me. I don't even know if this has to do with this, but he says, we have 100% ability to doubt and 0% ability to have faith. It's pretty good.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I think that, what he was saying is we have to ask for the ability to have faith. We have to have, almost be in a position of being very vulnerable and realizing that really we're not in control of anything, right? And we have to ask for, however you want to say it, a higher being or whatever this is, to have this mindset to give up control and not depend 100% on our own abilities.
Yeah. So almost to this story of the faith of the mustard seed.
Mm-hmm.
Does that tie into you in some way?
Sure.
Yeah. Right. Isn't it the faith of the mustard seed? You can move a mountain. Is that the?
Yeah. We gave out mustard seeds at our church a couple weeks ago.
So there you go.
Little packs of mustard seed.
There you go. But something very, very
tiny,
small, and your capacity for faith being something that you're saying doesn't come naturally.
No, it does not.
Yeah.
And I was convicted this morning reading that, especially after the doubts I had yesterday. And my first reaction when I see it's like, okay, what can I do in my power to fix this?
Yeah.
And the ultimate truth is we obviously we have things we can control. We do have some things that we have power over, but ultimately we have power over nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I wonder if even like Jeff Bezos can escape this idea that he's, a month away from living in the gutter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just wonder. I mean, I'm sure to his point, he's probably well beyond that. But I think most people have, no matter how successful you are, there's this thought that creeps in, like you said.
Yeah.
I think we could make it one bedroom.
Yeah.
Right.
We would be homeless.
Right.
We get close to it.
We'll get it on the second floor.
Yeah.
So self-confidence.
Self-confidence. Self-confidence, I would say a 7.
7. Community activities.
Yeah,
you're doing neighborhood work.
I'm pretty involved.
Right.
Kids play sports.
Yeah.
Involved at the church. 7.
7. This might be my worst score personally, but how about this one? Praise of others.
Yeah. I a lot of times I'm having to go back. I don't do well at praising in the moment. And so even like last night, I sent a text message to one of my team members who worked really hard on creating something, and it was actually really good. And, even in the meeting, I was like, I like this. But then I sent him a text last night. I was like, hey, man, I know you worked hard on that. It was really good, because it's in the moment. I think so. Praise of others. This is a concept that Aaron talks about, the concept of watering grass where it grows. Have you heard of any of this? Has he talked about this?
I've heard the phrase.
Yeah. And so that's really this idea of praising others is you want to water the grass where it's growing to keep it growing, not try to find, desert and try to revive some greenery, right? So praise of others. Let me say, man, this would be a great one for some of my team to rate me. I wonder how vulnerable you'd have to be to have your team do the ideal will for you. Yeah.
Certainly. Look, there's certain pieces that would be easy to measure.
Yeah. Praise of others, I'd say a 6.
6, got it. Okay, how about this one? We'll combine them. Listening habits, friendly. What do you think?
Well, see, that's different. I mean, I can be really friendly and not listen to anything you're saying.
All right, shotgun it.
So listening habits, I would say a 5. Friendly, I would say a 7.
Okay.
Good personal hygiene. Hey, what do you think? I mean, you commented on my hat. That would be like brushing your teeth and stuff. Yeah, I do that.
Right.
I take care of myself.
Okay.
I could probably shave more often if that, because that goes into personal appearance though, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Good personal hygiene, an 8.
Okay.
An 8. We'll go with an 8.
All right, let's cue this up.
All right,
quick.
Family. Ooh, now it's getting real.
Hang on, let me
those last 3.
Let me total you here, because I'm curious.
All right, we're adding on the iPhone. Hey, what did we do before the iPhone?
How about a 7? 7 in social.
Think of what you use your phone for now. That we didn't have this phone 10 years ago, right? Calculator. Like, how many times do you need to add something up? And I mean, we didn't have a smartphone to add with. Did we just carry around a calculator in our back pocket?
I'm still math in our head. That was the crazy part.
Nope,
Yeah.
not me,
Oh,
Mike.
we did do the math in our head. You just handwrite it long.
Yeah, there you go.
It.
I'd probably script it out.
What I probably use the most on my phone is my flashlight.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time. Now that I'm at the age where I need that at nice restaurants to see the menu.
Just swipe, pull that flashlight.
Yeah. Well, what do we do before that?
I know. Well, the crazy thing about it, people talk about, the mark of the beast or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if the mark of the beast is in fact the phone,
Okay.
it's already in. You will not lose this phone.
No.
Right? You ever lost your phone? It's never
It
more
hadn't happened
than
very often. Yeah.
a couple feet by your side.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. So okay, moving on.
Interesting.
Family. Ooh.
Family.
Can be a challenging one for career-oriented men. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast or I've mentioned this in another circle, and I can't even remember the pastor's name, so I'm really striking out on this. I do remember what he said, though. He called it the second shift.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The guy from Dallas, Chandler.
Yeah, it's his buddy.
Okay.
Came up with that.
Yeah.
Or maybe Chandler also said it.
Yeah.
But yes, the second shift that, for us as men, when we get home at 4:30 or 5, we're starting our second job, right?
Yeah.
Another 40 hours a week at least, having to be there. And so, I would say, family. Why do you think it's so hard for us?
I think that a lot of the wiring that goes into the day-to-day to provide for your family, to interact with the business world, your coworkers, your customers, all the people associated with your business, from the financial to the legal to the accounting. Just there's so many demands coming at you, and so many things you have to look at and pay attention to. And at the end of the day, you get home and you think, man, my bandwidth is tapped. I don't have much left.
Yep.
And it's tough because, I think that previous generations were more comfortable with this kind of on and off mentality, where the guy comes home, he sits down on the chair, his wife brings him the meal, and he turns on the TV.
Yeah.
And that was a lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
The lifestyle today that's not accepted.
No.
Anymore. That's not very commonplace. At least there's an expectation of more equality of duties within the household.
Correct.
And part of those duties involve spending time with your children, making quality time for your wife, participating in household chores.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All those things that previous generations might have changed a little bit. So it is a new kind of challenge for particularly career-oriented men to have to adapt to not only the workplace, but then also coming home, like you said, jumping into the second shift.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're right. I mean, you've given all day, right? Especially if we're talking about business owners, right? I mean, there is really, you literally do wear the weight on your shoulders of the whole operation.
That's right.
And all of the employees and all of this, and then not to even think that, hey, hopefully at the end of the month there's some left for my family to live on, right?
Yeah.
And so you have all of this weight on your shoulders, and listen, I love my kids, but I wouldn't
say more.
I wouldn't say they're very life-giving, right? I mean, I'm not being like, oh, I can't wait to be around my 4 kids so I can get energy from them, right? And I'm blessed to have the wife that I have, who is very supportive and understanding, and she knows when I'm off, and she is in tune with that. But I do know in a lot of instances, their spouse isn't very supportive or life-giving either. And so I can't imagine really being in that. I mean, dude, last night we literally had 3 soccer games, right? So, I mean, we get home, get the kids changed, find the jersey, search the whole house, find jerseys, get them dressed, get in the car. Oh, on the way to the game, my son's cleats break because I tried to glue them back together. Didn't work. Apparently Elmer's glue doesn't work on the cleats. Cleats break. My daughter's socks won't fit. My youngest forgot his soccer ball, so we're going to academy. Okay, fighting traffic on Airline Drive.
They should have one there at the game.
Yeah, so getting all the stuff, getting to the game. We have 2 games at one time on totally separate across the parking lot, 2 different places. Right, we have games. So then my 5-year-old, his game doesn't finish till 8:00. Got to get the snacks, got to get all the way back to the house, 8:45, got to get them to bed. And then we finally sit down, and it's time to eat dinner at 9:30. I mean, it's just it's a lot.
And there's no time left for her pursuing your relationship. I mean, there's nothing left, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just let's turn on
ships passing
Netflix.
In the night.
We're going to start a show and in 10 minutes be passed out. Yeah. And so that is, seasons. Obviously, that doesn't happen every day, but we are in that 5 to 6 week season of kids playing sports and us doing this. And I mean, it's just it is. So.
Yeah. No question.
Yeah, all right.
So family is a part of the ideal wheel.
Yep.
And we're measuring this because not only do we want to understand where we are in the ideal wheel, but we want to know how we can make the wheel more round and larger.
Yes, because you go further easier.
You can go further easier.
That's further easier.
It's more efficient. So
more efficient.
With your family, tell me about your listening habits.
Ooh, listening habits. What did I say on the other listening habits? Social.
Oh, you were a 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say I'm probably a 5 there too.
Okay. Good role model.
Oh, wow. Good role model. Let's say a 7.
Okay. Vacations and getaways. Listen, can I just give you the score on this one?
You want to give me the score on this one?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at this one.
Let me give you a 9 on this one.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Okay.
We do like to get away. Four kids at the house. It's just it's difficult to unplug for any more than maybe an hour or two at a time. Right. And so the getaways are a big deal for us. We love doing this. In fact, I would say if we were going to be real strict on our budget, this might be one of our biggest budget items.
Yep.
Is vacations and getaways.
Of course.
Sorry, let me clarify that. Without kids.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Now we do bring the kids. They've done the Grand Canyon. They've done Disney World. We do. Mm-hmm. But the majority of our time away is just us. Forgiving attitude. I'm pretty good with this. I don't know if I hold grudges. I would say that maybe I'm more. This comes easier to me because I've needed more forgiveness than anybody else in my family, right? And so I've been the recipient of a lot of forgiveness, grace, empathy, sympathy, all of it. Yeah. So yeah, you name it.
All the pathies.
You name it.
Okay, so forgiving attitude. Where are you at?
Let's say 7.
7. Okay. How about building self-esteem in others, particularly I would imagine in your wife and in your children?
Ooh. My wife is one of our biggest listeners too.
Or in uncles.
Build self-esteem in others. Let's go 6.
6. Okay.
Yes.
It's
hard. I'm definitely, and I'm more aware of it now, but I definitely am like pointing out faults. This is where you could have done better, rather than, hey, this is where you did good. Right.
Right.
So.
Express love and respect.
Oh.
How you doing on that? Expressing love and respect.
And then we're talking about with my wife and my kids, with all of them. I think I do. There's room to improve it. I'm gonna go with the 7 on that.
7.
I make sure that I'm acknowledging my kids every day. Give a little squeeze on the shoulder, a hug, a little rub on the head, telling them I'm proud of them, I love them.
Yes. What
it needs to be. Try to do that every day. Whether if it's not a whole lot of alone time.
Okay. How about meals together?
So, I'd break this down into one thing we do, me and my wife, is a weekly date night. That's a big deal for us. So either Friday or Saturday night, we're getting a sitter and we're doing something. Mm-hmm. So meals together on that end would be high. We spend a lot of time together. Now, as far as the family goes, we're going to go 5 out of 10. Yeah, we're probably a couple nights of the week.
Okay, I'm going to bump you up to 6 on this one.
And I would also say this. Having 4 kids, and the older they get, the more they like to eat, and they like to eat the same things that me and my wife eat. And so we kind of have this rule where we don't really eat dinner until they go to bed, because they'll want to eat our food.
Okay.
So we eat at different times.
You don't break
The kids
out.
are eating at 5:30.
Right.
We're eating at 8:30.
I got you.
Okay. Now, we do sit down at their 5:30 time, and they eat, and we're there talking.
Yeah.
Doing, go through around the table, highs and lows. What are your highs and lows for the day?
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of our thing. That's kind of what we do.
Listen, I'm going to bump you way up. Let's go to a 7 with that.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Family relationships.
What do you think? What would be a good goal? What's your goal for meals together?
Oh, it's horrible. Ours is terrible.
Okay.
And there's 3 of us, but at the end of the day, we just kind of eat in different moments.
Yes. Yeah. So that would be. I think that we try, when it's not sports season, we try to maybe do 3 nights of the week.
Okay.
Meals together.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah,
Way to go. Family relationships. Okay, this could span
family relationships,
uncles as well.
Yeah.
No.
Look, when I went to college, I didn't call or go home and visit till like the semester was over.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was out of there,
Yeah.
So,
pretty.
Unless I needed something,
Yeah.
then I would call.
I don't know why this one's so hard too, but this one's a tough one. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think that. I felt I think that there's this responsibility put on you that your extended family's emotional needs, like we grew up that way, right? It's like, my dad would come and say, well, you really made your mom upset by doing this. Or, your mom would really like it if you would get her something for Mother's Day, right? So now I feel this responsibility for a parent or brother or sister's emotional well-being, and you carry that on into adulthood, and you're like, we're all adults here now.
And I appreciate this honesty right now, because really your family is probably the only listeners that we have. So you are in theory clearing the deck on our listeners.
And I'm not justifying by lack of engagement with my family, but we try to get together. We do Easter, and we do with my wife, my in-laws, we get together 6 times a year with my family. My family all goes to church together, so we see each other every Sunday. But intentional relationship building activities, not very high. So let's go with a 6 on that.
6, okay.
Sorry, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, so I have to reframe everything that's bad. So
okay, productive arguments.
Productive arguments. I feel like we know how to fight fairly. Mine and my wife's issue is that neither of us want to offend or make the other person upset. She's a peacemaker, not on the Enneagram. I'm a 7. I want everybody to like me. Okay. So we tend to just avoid things until it comes to a head. Yeah. But when it does come to a head, I think that we talk it out.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are we talking here?
That's when we do have arguments, they are productive. I'd say a 7.
7, got it. Time together.
I would go high on time together. I think that we spend a lot of time together. Our kids don't necessarily go to their rooms. We're all hanging out in the living room most days, most evenings. We do a lot of swimming. We hang out all the time. So time together, I would go with a 8 on that.
Going with an 8. Okay, so this is pretty close to a 7 for you.
Okay.
This wraps the categories.
Okay. What does my wheel look like?
Your wheel, it's pretty round.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. Most everything is in the 6 to the 7 range.
Okay.
Nothing really jumps out. So again, if I'm looking at your lowest scores, which is kind of what I did when I was filling my wheel out, I would ask myself, okay, is this a place for growth?
Yeah.
And then how can we achieve that? So for you, sticking to your schedule was probably your lowest. No, was in fact your lowest score.
Okay.
From there, some other of the lower scores are personal budget, impulse purchases.
Yeah. Let's just go back over all the bad stuff. Here we go.
Retirement investments.
Yeah, let's go bring it up.
Listening habits. Listening habits was a reoccurring theme as well. So if we were going to say the worst was probably sticking to your schedule and listening habits. So when you hear that, what is it? How does it make you feel? What does it make you think about?
Well, it doesn't. That's not surprising. And I can say that I have improved on those. By being self-aware. That's my improvement.
I know I'm bad at this.
I know I'm bad at it. I can acknowledge it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know of immediate next steps. Obviously I would share these things with the people that know me the best. I would share these with my coach, share these with a friend for some accountability, share this with my spouse. Hey, I know I'm bad at listening.
Yes.
I want to become better. Obviously there are resources out there, books, podcasts, the Busy Smalls.
How about this? How about if we're talking about some of the natural accountability?
Sure.
Let's take these two things, and I'm going to check back in with you.
Okay. Let's do it.
How's that sound?
So what I would say, this is a practice from Aaron Barker himself that I've been using. Okay. You don't tell someone you're going to hold them accountable. Okay. You ask permission.
Ooh. May I have permission?
Hey. And then you let them answer how.
Yeah.
So you say, hey, will you allow me to help you grow in these areas, to help you do this?
Okay.
Yes, I would.
Forgive me.
Yes, I would.
So forward.
And you say, how would you like that to happen?
Okay.
And then I might say, hey, you know what? Check in with me once a week for the next couple of months.
That's what I already asked.
Yeah,
but,
but that's what I'm saying, right? And so, but no, it is good because and I've used that practice a lot over the past couple of months. Because it doesn't feel like accountability when a team member gives you permission,
yes,
and then defines the terms of it.
Okay.
So now when you're calling them as the boss, they're not being like, "Oh, I'm in trouble about something." Yeah. It's, "Oh yeah, I told him to call me. He's just doing his weekly check-in."
He's just doing it.
Yeah.
No, and I think
that's free. That wasn't even part of this podcast on that one, right?
Maybe that's
just
another
threw
one,
that
but,
in there.
But
yes,
so,
you do have permission, buddy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, listen. So this was a good rundown of the ideal wheel.
Yes, ideal wheel.
Again, 7 ways to measure your life. 7 ways to value. Understand the meaning of your life.
Sure.
To find ways to improve.
Take an assessment of where you're at.
An assessment,
right? And that's it, right? It's really just a thermometer, if you will, of where you're at in your life. Correct. In these areas, and then gives you a springboard for a clear action plan to improve on these areas.
There you go.
Yeah,
how about some sponsors of the podcast? How about getting some of those
sponsors of the podcast?
Yeah. Who do we have today?
I would say, let me look this up. I don't know the phone number or the website, but I would say, we're in Louisiana, North Louisiana. We've had a lot of rain, some decent weather, some nice spring days. This past weekend was a nice spring day. Sitting by the pool Saturday felt really good.
Amazing.
Right? But we know summer is coming, right? And it's going to be hot. It gets hot here. Do you like air conditioning? Normally, yes. The worst is for someone like me to go to like New York, San Francisco, check into a hotel, no AC. Like they have places with no air conditioning in these places. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So air condition. So Excellent Air Solutions is a great local business. Noah, the lead technician, unbelievable guy. In fact, he is at my house as we speak, changing out my filters for me. Wow. And not because I'm lazy. It's just we have like 11-foot ceilings and I don't trust myself. My life insurance is not high enough for me to be getting on a 10-foot ladder. Okay. So Excellent Air Solutions. Yes. Okay. And, and I will tell you real quick what their phone number is 318-408-2008. 318-408-2008. If you have any air conditioning needs, they will take care of you. Service, maintenance, installs, residential, commercial. Website is excellentairsbc.com. Excellentairsbc.com. They're also on Facebook. So Excellent Air Solutions. And Noah is the man. He's awesome.
Noah? What's Noah's last name?
Why would you ask me that?
Noah Excellent Air Solutions in your phone. So
Noah Berry.
Noah Berry.
B-U-R-Y.
B-U-R-Y. Great. So if you have any AC needs, this is Leighton's recommendation, Excellent Air Solutions. Thank you guys for spending time with us here at Busy Smalls. Yep. We're still learning, what we're all about in terms of this podcast, and appreciate you coming along the ride with us.